one of the things that with the athletes, when you see that repair and replace, we're constantly damaging our cells that need to either be replaced or repair because of the vigorous exercises we do. And one of the things that I tell people, and I'm going to bring this towards you, is that causes energy. I mean, there's energy when you have to replace those cells and repair them on a daily basis. And so when you look at athletes, they're at a much, in other words, one of the reasons they got taken more calories is because they're replacing the cells that are damaging on a daily basis. And can you kind of address that, where ASEA is, why that energy, I mean, that increased energy that needs to replace and repair those cells, you know, it gets right back into what you talked about is if we're using free fatty acids, which is more energy, we're doing that throughout the day to repair and replace those cells. Can you address that?
Yeah. In studying the apoptosis concept of let's fix that cell or let's replace it, I learned that there are millions of those that are going on at any given time in the body. We have a product called Renew 28 because it takes 28 days to replace the skin. And the digestive tract, amazingly, the cells in the digestive tract are replaced every 18 hours. So the heart about every 5 years, but various parts of the body, there's a need to replace those. Obviously, it takes a lot of ATP to do that. What Dr. Neiman also discovered is that ASEA will increase the mitochondrial density in a cell, which is amazing. How can you actually create a more efficient, effective, stronger cell? He said by taking ASEA, you'll have more mitochondria in that cell. But the two will play off each other. Obviously, the athletes that push themselves hard, that work out almost nonstop and do a lot of long-term workouts and exercise, have a greater need to repair and replace those cells, which ASEA is doing. So the two work in concert and they support each other. And most of the athletes say, look, I don't need to run faster. I just need to repair the damage that I'm doing to my body faster so that I can go longer. So that's the way I see it. I mean, there's probably a couple other angles, but it's certainly beneficial to everyone.
And would you say with athletes, I have my athletes taking the product more often than a non-athlete, and would you address that and why you endorse that also?
Yeah. Well, they've learned recently through a scientific study that if you take ASEA and then go off in a month, you're back to where you were. This is not a one-time, hey, I'm good, I've taken, I'm done. So the maintenance concept is important. Dr. Samuelson used to say to everyone, take more dosages and a smaller amount in each of those dosages for health. But for the athletes, I think we're finding that 6 ounces is a good amount to take frequently, especially when you're exercising. But obviously the dosage that they say for general health is 2 ounces in the morning, 2 ounces in the evening. We have some of the executives in ASEA who know all the science behind it, and we've only revealed a small fraction of it, who take almost a bottle a day, knowing what it does for people. So should you take more? If you can, absolutely. If you're very sick, I would take quite a bit more. But I would also take a lot of water in between, because there are two great detox components in the world. One is water. The other one is glutathione. So you're getting both, and you're pushing stuff out of the body. And anyway, huge advantage, especially before and immediately after. One of the early investors in ASEA ran a race on a bike, an elderly gentleman, and it was a tandem bike with his wife. He said, we didn't know what ASEA would do, but we took it before the race. He said, we ended up finishing first in our age group. We were off the bike. We had taken the bike, put it on the car, changed our clothes, and come back when the second place group passed the finish line. He said, I'm a believer now. And it was kind of his funny story, because he's generally a pretty healthy guy, works out a lot. but he was just amazed at what it did for him. And there's a whole group of people that says, I get it. They take it very regularly, but like you said, Sean, athletes before and after, people who run marathons and say the next day I can't move, or up and walking around and taking care of stuff as if they did nothing. It's all about taking care of your body and having it replenished and move the buildup of acid out of your body as well. So awesome.
And sorry for asking all these questions, but it's not very often I get to have you in.
Yep, love it.
One of the things that you hit on, which I think is real important, is oxidative stress. That's a huge component with athletes in breaking down. Athletic fatigue, which is a huge component of athletes because they're not able to get those workouts back to back. And it's oxidative stress. You hit on earlier that oxidative stress, I think it's one of the, if not one of the most important things to keep down in an athlete is oxidative stress, because of address that and how you feel that is a benefit to athletes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've always wondered if there was a common thread in almost everything that we deal with, having to do with damage, aging, disease, lack of health, etc. Pollutants are definitely a big component of it, but the big piece that I'm finding most people don't understand is this concept of oxidative stress. Like you said, it's an overabundance of ROS. And those molecules are the same molecules that signal damage. If it's happening at multiple places in the body at the same time, the body simply does not have the strength in the immune system to address it. So there are a few components to fixing the body. Two of them are the ASEA product, RS and ROS. The other two are helper B cells and killer T cells. And with those four, they clean up the body, they repair it, they take care of it. So one of the big components that we knew was missing was the right nutrients to build those strong workers in the body. And with the most recent products that ASEA has come out with, we've given the body those ingredients. It's like saying, look, bake me some cookies. What's the recipe, number one? And that's off the DNA, and ASEA goes and finds that, brings the recipe. But you also have to have the ingredients, and we now have all that. It's a complete solution. And I'm finding that that there is an increase in the health of individuals because those nutrients that are there and the recipe is there. So now we can make them with messenger RNA. But I just know that the athletes are saying, look, I'm not only faster, but I feel better, and I don't feel the lactic acid buildup, and I just feel stronger. So that's what I would say.
Yeah. And then with Dexter Yates, who I know you're aware of, and I have another lady who's 8 years old, getting on the product, what we're seeing is that they're actually building muscle, decreasing fat, even their bone density is increasing, and their metabolic age is increasing. So that component of these, and these athletes that are still taking the product, but they're over 30 years old, that are reversing that process. And it's like unheard of these, somebody who's 74 years old, who is actually building muscle, decreasing fat, and actually increasing bone density. Can you address that also?
Yeah. Early on, when we started to realize what ASEA was, there was a massive amount of information and science from major universities: Stanford, UCLA, Harvard, University of Washington, University of Indiana, Utah State, etc. And they all had amazing information, and we thought, what do we release? And there was initially a desire to name ASEA something having to do with a fountain of youth, elixir, rejuvenating, taking us, reversing aging, etc., and taking our cells and making them younger. And it was decided that we would not do that, that people would eventually figure it out. I think Dexter is a great example of that. But over time, there has been a concern with sharing too much information. I mean, our family is 100% convinced because we get to look in the files and see what it's doing. And our jaw just drops all the time. People have no idea how valuable and strong this is. But we choose as a network marketing company to call it a nutraceutical versus a pharmaceutical. But there is huge value in this product. And it's not so much that it treats, cures, or diagnoses anything. It gives the body the tools it needs to fix itself. And I would trust the human body over any cancer institute, et cetera, to take care of it. So I know that there is all the stuff that you're talking about that the athletes are seeing. You say, well, why isn't the company using that and sharing more of that information? There may come a time when they will, but testimonials like yours carry a lot of weight, Sean. And as Dexter gets up and says, here's what I'm seeing, I've got pictures of bodybuilders who say, I can build the mass much faster with ASEA. And I used to have to do upper body Tuesday, lower body Wednesday, upper body Thursday, lower body Friday. He says, I can do it all the same day now because the repair is there and it's breaking down, but the muscle is building back a lot faster and they can get the size. Some people say that's important to them, but other people say, look, I just want to be healthy when I'm 80 and 90 and to be able to, run up the mountainside or go to Disneyland with my grandkids. This is for everyone. So anyway.
John, I was just going to touch on that because I played basketball in college. I'm now 61 years old. But due to multiple injuries along the way, I've had 10 back surgeries, and I was addicted to a lot of pain pills.
Yeah.
Because of my body being able to heal itself. And I think this is a huge group to speak to as well. But us baby boomers, I know Sean's probably on that top 25 most athletic people. You and I are maybe close. John, maybe you're closer than I.
Doubt that.
But it gives us hope because I'm now able to go out and exercise. I've been able to lose ballpark 50 pounds.
Yeah.
So it's giving me in my as I'm aging better, I'm able to do more. And I think there's a ton of hope there because my body's healed itself. I'm off all my pain pills. My back issues are radically reduced because my body healed itself again. But it speaks to a lot larger group of people, the elite athletes, and maybe more of us could become like that. So I think the offer of hope to other people as the baby boomers, which is the largest segment going through this population. But it's amazing what this has been able to do for me as an ex-athlete.
Well, great point. I feel the same way. I played a lot of softball, a lot of basketball. I'm back into golf, but anytime I feel pain, I know it's inflammation and I know it's oxidative stress, and I can immediately feel the pain and think, I've got to take more ASEA, and I haven't taken ASEA. And when I do, I feel better. So, and to your point, it allows us to get up and be more mobile and if need be, get our body back into condition. So again, I think everyone needs this. And, my kids will go and play a soccer game or go do something where they're running a lot. And they will literally say, Dad, I forgot the ASEA. You've got to go home and get it. They won't play a game without it because they know that late in the game, they're going to be ahead of the pack and everyone's going to be sucking air and they're going to be way out in front. So it's fun to see that too. It's fun.
Absolutely. And this athletic portion of this was all something that was completely unexpected in the beginning, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, Nancy talked a little bit about that with us.
My dad calls it the gift. He says, when we bought this and started realizing what it was, really, the guy who figured this out is Nancy, my sister's husband. His name's Mark. Mark is a cycler, and he's on a team, and they get up early in the morning and go from, the valley in Salt Lake City all the way up to the tips up above the ski resorts. And he took ASEA and beat his entire team up the hill by several minutes. And got out, and they said, what the heck are you doing differently? Because his whole team was hitting it hard, and they generally all grind to get up the top of the hill. Mark was up there kicking back, and they said, "What are you doing differently?" And he came down and he said to my dad, he says, "You've got a performance enhancer." He said, "What's amazing is that it's the body. It's safe. It's, what you'd find in the body. It's not, an illegal thing. It's just very, very beneficial and powerful." And so that's kind of what sparked a lot of us looking into this. We did some studies at, I think it's called TOSH in Park City, and found that it was pushing the VO2 max out about 12% time to ventilatory threshold, which, any athlete who starts on the start line can look over and say, "I got a 12% advantage on all of you guys if you're taking ASEA." So anyway, it's very powerful, very powerful.
So I have a question, or no, a statement and a question.
Sure.
The statement is, I raced about 150 races before the product, and it was over 25 years, and I might have won 3 races. And then since being on the product, I've raced 50 races, and I've won 47 of those races, in the other 3. So yeah, I'm a firm believer. But one of the things I tell people too, and we gets back to the nutrition component. You can't take ASEA and sit on the couch and eat bonbons and chocolate ice cream and get the results. You still have to take the product, which opens up the cell to make it more acceptable to the nutrition, and then you absorb the proper nutrition.
Yeah.
So that's a big component. Is take ASEA, but you still got to change your health issues, meaning eating properly, like we talked about, carbs and simple fats. Yeah. And so what I tell people now, and then I'll let you address that, is that you activate your cells with ASEA, you feed your cells with ASEA via source, and then use your cells, and you'll get results.
No, that's all I would say as well, Sean. I mean, it's as simple as that. A lot of people try to find the best equation, but it's just what you shared there. And I would say drink a lot of water and be active. And, there is a lot of garbage and processed foods and saturated fats and things like that. Steer clear of those. A lot of different kinds of sugars that you don't want in your body, but that's just being smart. It's being smart. We have one body, take care of it. That's all I would say.
The other thing that we touched on a little bit is the lactic acid buildup. I think that's a huge component. And I did a presentation, but I actually did some lactic acid tests on myself, in which you actually do blood and from my earlobe, different time intervals during a workout, and they were comparing to someone who wasn't on ASEA, and I was comparing the lactic acid at about a 22% faster rate, which means that, and the component of that was, with an athlete, if we can get that lactic acid cleared out right when the race starts and get over that burn, we can get to the higher level of performance right off the bat. And there's a big difference are. You want to address the lactic acid buildup, because I think that's a huge component with athletes on decreasing that.
Yeah. Well, all I know is that with the studies they did at the Human Performance Lab in Research Triangle Park, North Carolina, David Neiman was saying, not only does it push the fatty-free acids into the bloodstream, making them available for use in fuel, but it is clearing out lactic acid. And anyone who has taken ASEA and has done something strenuous before and then done it with ASEA will know that. If you go on a hike, if you do a hard workout, oftentimes as we age, muscles just get so sore. We get out of bed and we're just creeping around. You still get that a little bit, but there's a serious difference with ASEA. I mean, the lack of lactic acid really will help you feel like you're younger. I would say 10 to 15 years for me. I used to play a lot of outfield in baseball, and I'd run hard and my thighs would just burn. And I take ASEA before games and have no problem doing that now. So it is an amazing discovery. So
it is the fountain of youth.
It is.
Well, John, I can't thank you enough. Sean, thank you. Thank you for being at the sub hitter, or the pinch hitter for William.
Yeah.
William, we missed you. We'll talk to you guys soon. John, again, thank you. Thank you for everything that your family has done for us. Thank you that your dad did not take the check, that because of that, we now can go and share this with the world.
Yeah.
You know, and as an ex-stockbroker, I too had a hard time believing this, but if it wouldn't have been my best friend coming to me, and then I just kept going, what if? What if? What if this is really real? And if it was real, like we know it is, I said, this is what I've been waiting for my whole life. You know, God took me through 58 years to get to the point where I am now so that I won't abuse and lose this opportunity. So thank you to you and your family. Sean, thank you.
Yeah, John, I just like to say in closing too that what your family's done for my family will change it for generations to come. And it's not, you can't put a price tag on that. And your family has changed many lives. And I personally want to say you've changed my life and my family's life for generations to come. So I can't thank you enough.
Well, we all do that for each other. And thank you for sharing that, Sean. We feel very, very humbled that we were part of this. And we know that it's much bigger than us. We feel like there's a great opportunity for us to continue to push this out to the world and help a lot of people. But there's really, it's amazing how divinely orchestrated this whole thing kind of played out, because, the timing of it was really, really amazing. And I'm very, very thankful that there are people like you out there saying we need to move this along, because that's been a key part of the plan from the very beginning, is making this available to a lot of people. So thank you for saying that, Sean. It means a lot to me and to my family. So thank you.